So thank you for having me out. I know most of you are Chicago agents, which is fine, but what I'm going to talk about today, it's across the board, has nothing to do with what association you belong to. So the do's and don'ts of internet advertising, I'm going to go through code of ethics and through license law and just kind of give you some what are some of the biggest violations that we're seeing at the association. So code of ethics, to get started, Article 1 is honesty. Not only do you have to be honest in your advertising, you also have to be honest with your clients and your peers. That's what kind of falls into Article 1, so just be aware of that. Article 3, disclosing the existence of accepted offers. So it's in the code of ethics. It's also an MRED, right? You have 72 hours to make it contingent. Also, the other question I usually get to about disclosing offers is multiple offers, right? We've been really busy, been getting a lot of multiple offers in. If you're a seller, you and your seller have a conversation and your seller says, I do not want you disclosing multiple offers, you don't, right? Because you're going by what your seller says. If another agent asks you and you've been authorized not to, you've been told not to, then you just go ahead and say, I can't disclose that information. And then at that point, they can decide what they want to do with that. If your seller has said, yes, I want you to disclose multiple offers, if a co-op broker asks, you don't have to provide it, only if asked, the pieces of information that you have to provide per the Code of Ethics is where the offer is coming from. Is it a dual agency situation? Is it someone else in your office? Or is it another co-op broker? That's the only information you have to provide if you have disclosed that there's multiple offers. Article 4, disclosing the ownership. So if you are the buyer or seller of your own property and you're actually signing on the contract, it is required that you notify in writing per a license law, a couple things, and Code of Ethics. You have to notify in writing when you're turning that contract in that you are a licensee of the state of Illinois. And then also next to your name, when IDFPR actually audits, they will review and see that you've actually written licensee next to your signature. Okay, so just if you're buying and selling your own real estate. The other thing is on your advertising, all of your signage, your advertising, your postcards, your flyers, anything that you're promoting your own properties, you must say that you're broker owned. Okay? That is a requirement of Code of Ethics and license law. Article 11, not holding yourself out to be the expert. What does that mean? We have a lot of realtors out there who are also attorneys, loan mortgage officers, things like that. So if you're not any of those and your client is asking you specifically for law advice, things like that, it's best to get the advice from someone else and just reiterate that this advice is coming from XYZ. This is what they suggest. Again, it's not my opinion or me giving you law advice, things like that. Article 12 is actually where advertising is tucked in at in the Code of Ethics. There's standard practices. The first one is presenting a true picture. Again, this goes back to Article 1, being honest and truthful. Your advertising must be clear, whether it's printed or digital. Very clear, concise. The consumer must know exactly what it is that they're looking at. Disclosing, again, that status that you are a real estate professional. Whether you use the word broker, use the term realtor, use the term managing broker, that would be, again, required that you disclose that. If you're going to offer any benefits, whether there's free or no cost, or whether there's incentives, you have to disclose that again to the consumer. Who's going to receive it? Is it your new clients? Is it all your clients? Is it an existing client? Again, it has to be clear, concise, what it is and who it is. The thing is if they're party to the transaction, there's no set rule on what you can provide in your ad, what you can provide them, whether it be a reduction in your commission. Again, if you're talking with commission, you always have to go through your managing broker and whether or not that's allowable. They have to sign off. But if you're offering them an iPad or an apple pie or something like that, then again, it has to be clear and concise in your advertising. And then if they're not party to the transaction, if they don't hold a license, then the max per license law is $25. So if you're going to hold a raffle or something like that, the max that you can provide is $25 to that person. If they're a realtor and licensed or licensed in the state of Illinois, then of course you have that referral that you can provide them. But again, if they're not party to the transaction, they're non-licensee, again, you can't offer referrals, you can't promote them in your advertising, so just to be aware of that. Do not advertise the property without authority. You're not doing that, right? Because it's like rule number 1. You always want to have a listing agreement. However, once in a while, it does come through that somebody has marketed property that they don't have a listing agreement for. So always, again, if you're going to put a for sale sign in the yard and maybe you don't have a listing agreement and it's going to be 24 to 48 hours, but the seller says, yes, go ahead and pre-market my property, make sure you get it in writing from that landlord or that seller that you can go ahead and put that sign in their yard without a listing agreement or a, to buy or rent. So, let's see. Disclosing the ownership, we talked about that already. I apologize. It's also, so not only is it in Article 3, it's also in Article 12. So the disclosing of the ownership is not only in the regular Code of Ethics, but also under the 12, which is advertising. So again, it's very important that you're disclosing if you're a realtor. The word sold and who can use it. This is a big one right now that's going. We've been getting a lot of complaints through our citation program. In the Code of Ethics, it says the word sold can actually only be used by the listing broker and the co-op broker. Okay, so if you have any part, if you're a party to the transaction on either the seller or the buy side, you can use the word sold. If you are not party to the transaction and you use the word sold, for instance, you're doing a market update in a subdivision and you list 5 properties with beautiful pictures, which may or may not be your own, we'll talk about that. And you say sold, 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 and you maybe have this really tiny disclosure that says you received the information from MRED, and then you also maybe make a statement that you're the top 1% in Chicago, hypothetically. And then you have some other beautiful pictures of some properties that you actually sold. It's kind of deceiving, right? So if a consumer looks at it, they're going to look at it and be like, oh, they're the number 1% top in Chicago. They sold all these beautiful properties. And even if that one little section is a market update, it's deceiving. It's appearing that you're actually sold those properties. So if you're going to market, do a market update, your disclosure needs to be very clear. I would maybe use the word closed. I would maybe in your disclosure say you've received the information from, let's say, MRED, and then also say you may not have been party to the transaction, you may not have sold the properties, however it is that you want to market it. But again, having that disclosure is really important. It's really coming through. People are getting fined for it. Even if it's just a brief sentence that says these properties have been sold, that word sold is in the catch-all, and it's also going into IAR, or the Illinois Realtors, and they're even saying the same thing. It looks deceiving. Going through them, and they're also doing the fines if it's going through the state level. So again, just be cautious of the word sold. Only advertising the designations or certifications that you have. So a certification is you take the class, you pay the fee, it's yours. One of those examples would be the PSA, the Pricing and Strategy Advisor. It's a one-time shot, it's yours. You could use those PSA on your business cards and your advertising, all that, it's great. A designation is a little different. You take the class, you pay the fee, but there's usually always continuing ed. There's usually that classes that you have to keep up to date to keep that designation every couple years or so. So if you have a designation like the ABR or the SRS or SRES, the senior designation, things like that, you're going to want to verify if you need some continuing ed. Because to keep that designation next to your name, it's important that you have that continuing ed to keep that, okay? Disclosing your name and state of licensure on your website. I'm not sure, does Kale Realty have their own? Do you guys all use Kale Realty website, or do you have all your own personal websites?
I have my
your own. So if you have your own, it is required by Code of Ethics and state law that you also have your state of licensure on there. So if you're licensed in Illinois, and Indiana, Michigan, all those have to be listed. There's no requirement of where it needs to be on your website. There's no requirement on the size, things like that, but it is required, okay? Not on your Facebooks and things like that, your websites. Ensuring that information is current. So if you do have your own websites, sometimes you pay someone to do that for you. If you're only touching your site like maybe 4 times a year or something like that, again, it's very important that the information on there is current. And the other great thing is if you constantly are keeping it current and having feeds come in that are always current, like it's up to date, it's just going to increase your SEO anyway. So it's important that you're updating or making a change, every couple, days or so, just to keep that up on there. Using the one-click away method. Does anyone know what the one-click away method is? So one-click away method is allowable through the Code of Ethics, what it is, but it's not for state law, so I just want to talk about that. But I'm going to talk about it because it's important. It's if you're, like, let's say on Facebook and you're doing a sponsored ad, and it has maybe your team name, so maybe you're part of a team that says the Smith team, and it has a beautiful photo, and it maybe has an address, and that's all it has. But then you actually click on it, and there behind there it'll say Kale Realty, it'll say your name, it'll say that you're a realtor, it'll say all this really great information. That's the one-click away method. It is allowable in the Code of Ethics, so if somebody filed a complaint with the association, whether that be Chicago, Main Street, whomever, it would probably get thrown out, probably, because it is allowable. However, currently, with state law, it is not allowable. We're hoping that in 2020 that changes, that's the next rewrite, but currently it is important that license law requires you to have your name, a way to contact you, and your brokerage name on all of your advertising, whether it's printed or digital. So at this point, there's no distinguishing between the two. Those 3 things are always required on any advertising. Okay? Not manipulating others' data. Now in the day, a lot of people are blogging, a lot of people sharing articles, things like that. When we say manipulate, it's when you cut and paste pop it into your own site, and then you're not giving credit to that person. So again, that would be not only code of ethics violation, it may be some other issues down the road also. Being deceptive in your practices and in your URLs, things like that. What does that mean? So let's say that Cal Realty and down the street is ABC Realty, and you go on to GoDaddy and you realize that abcrealty.net is available, and you're like, yeah. You buy it and you push all that back to your Cal Realty. That would be deceiving because you're taking a competitor's website basically and trying to divert that traffic back to you. That would be an example. However, if you wanted to do key trend words, so you want to Google or wherever it is that you're going to go and get key trend words, and you find that in Chicago real estate is a top key trend or whatever, you go to GoDaddy and you put all those key trends in and you find that these websites are available, you want to purchase those, that would be fine. If you're going to do that, I would create a landing page and then push it back to your page. That's just a little marketing tip there. If you're going to capture data and sell it, it's very important that you disclose it, okay? I'm not sure about Chicago. I believe they're the same as Main Street. We do not sell your email addresses. Just not something we do. We only provide, if someone contacts us or a consumer's looking for a realtor, under Find Realtor section, all they receive is your name and your office information, office phone number, nothing personal, no emails. And that also goes for MRED. They do not sell your email addresses either. Even though it appears that, I think there's some third parties out there doing some manipulation. Article 15, this is where it protects you as a realtor and against your peers. So if out there in the age of social media, people are always blogging and talking about other things, maybe areas, communities, properties, things like that. If there's a conversation going and maybe a third party comes in, starts maybe saying some negative things, comments about another realtor, things like that, it's important, we recommend that you automatically delete it or you clarify the statement, just so that down the road, because it's easy to screen print, right, turn it into the association, and then you're, again, going through a hearing process over 3 months dragging out, and we don't want that, right, because that's crazy. Article 16, do not, the MLS is for buying and selling of real estate. Sometimes people who are loan mortgage, originator, things like that, they will go into there and maybe try to get other business. That's not what the MLS is for. So not only does MLS have rules, but it's also being protected under the Code of Ethics, and we all know as realtors, we're held to that higher level of being a realtor with the Code of Ethics. So license law, currently 2010, this is it. It's all the Code of Ethics, they mirror each other. So if you have working with somebody who's a licensee and not a realtor, then they're not a part of the association, and then you would not file with us or with CAR. You would file with IBFPR, because they can then take that complaint farther for you. But it's mirrored to each other. So it's all of the Code of Ethics, and then they want you to know not to mislead, right? And license law clearly says you're not to mislead. That means in your advertising, it has to be, again, clear, concise, and honest. Your company name must always appear. It's the full company name, whatever that is. Is it just Cal Realty? So be Cal Realty, there's no blind ads. That includes your business cards. That includes any postcards, no cards, your Facebook ads, things like that. If you're going to have a Facebook account, we always recommend you do a business page and you share it to your personal. If you're using a personal page, you are required per Code of Ethics and License Law to have Cal Realty, your name, and all that other information. And eventually, Facebook's going to pick it up pretty quickly that you're using it as a business page, and they're going to shut it down. So it's important that you're having a business page sharing to your personal page. Acting managing brokers. Anybody in here have a managing broker's license?
Yes.
A couple of you, right? So if you have a managing broker's license, you're still considered a broker of Cal Realty. The only person that can actually say that they're a managing broker of Cal Realty would be David. Okay? Good news, again, there's no big changes in 2020 for advertising. We will probably see some other changes coming along for license law at that point, but not for advertising. And then again, we're hoping to see that one click-away method defined. We're hoping it's going to be allowable. It makes it just a little bit easier probably when you're doing your advertising and things like that. Some of the biggest violations that we are seeing in advertising is, again, using that word sold. Again, very, very cautious of using that word sold. Advertising other brokers' listings on your social media. So IDX, you guys get IDX feeds from MRED, right? Everyone does usually. And you have permission to feed that to your websites. However, the IDX software companies make these really great share features. And you click a button and it shares to Facebook, things like that. Now you've taken it, when you use that share feature, you've taken it off the IDX feed. Now you no longer have that permission. That license agreement is gone. So if you're going to do that, it's very important that you have the permission of the listing agent to go ahead and share that post. However, you may have an office policy where you can share all of Cal Realty. I'm not sure about that. That would be a discussion that you would know, or maybe ask David, and that might be acceptable. But if you're going to share a competitor or somebody down the street that you saw that might be really a really cool property that you want to show, again, if you're going to take it off the IDX feed, you have to have permission. That goes for open houses. If you go to open houses and you check in, usually has the address here. Again, you have now taken it off. You're sharing that listing without maybe the permission of the listing broker. And a lot of times, right, most would want it to be shared, right? We all want it to be shared. It's usually that time when you share, everything's great, and then all of a sudden someone makes a nasty comment like, oh, I was at that property and the basement leaks and blah, 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 or I was down that street and the sewer system is just, backing up or whatever. And then a consumer gets very irate and upset, right? Because there's negative comments out there, and that's usually when we see it come through. Advertising on Craigslist. So we're not really seeing no more. We used to see a lot where you would maybe have a listing as a listing broker, and then someone would just kind of copy and paste it, pop it into Craigslist, say, hey, call me if you're interested, right? Had a lot of those. Those are kind of going away. Now what we're seeing is a lot of rental scams, right? You've probably seen those where you go on and you may be selling the property and you're getting calls. And sure, you're going to get calls for a couple days where people are calling you about it possibly. But the issue now becomes, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, because usually those rentals are way below market value for the rental in that property, in that area. And so they're getting swindled out of their many of their dollars because they're walking around a piece of property without entering it. They're sending off the money, and then they're saying they're getting the keys, but they're really not. If the property, we also see if the property is vacant, they will actually go meet them at the property and give them some fake key or whatever, and hand them the money and leave. So again, it's very important. It's a great another marketing tool as a realtor, that you are an expert in your field, that you will protect your clients, that you're working for them. So again, it's just another great tool for you to be able to try and get those, even if you're not doing rentals. But if you're not, then there's, of course, you can pass those on. There is a difference between advertising as a realtor and then as a consumer. So again, if you're using those personal pages, and it's strictly for personal, you're only using it for family and friend, you're not advertising any of your businesses, you're not doing any business on there, you don't have to notify that you're a broker and all that stuff, okay, if you're using a business page. However, again, if you're using it as strictly your business page, it's important to have that information. If a consumer goes ahead and shares, they can share whatever they want on the internet, they can talk about whatever they want, they're not held to that standard that you are. So again, always remember that you always have your realtor hat on. So if you are advertising a piece of property, then you must make sure you have the proper disclosures, okay? Your brokerage name, your name, your way to contact you, okay? It's just important information that you need to have out there. We're getting a lot of complaints too about claims about number one realtor, number one brokerage in a certain area, things like that. They may have been, but maybe it was 4 or 5 years ago. It's important to know that you have the correct stats to back you up. Otherwise, again, you could be fined. So again, be cautious again how you're wording that you're the number one, things like that. Is there any questions, concerns about?
Just to clarify with the IDX site thing, is it okay to have the share buttons on there?
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. They're on there.
Oh, we just can't use them?
You can. If a consumer does it, sure.
I have a question. When you're talking about the one click, on my site, I have, on the top of every page is all the, the same picture where it has all the info. And then underneath it is I have all of my listings, and then I just have the basic details, and then when I click on it, it goes to like a hot pads listing or something. And then on that, it has the copy and paste of all the information. So that's still legit.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like when we're seeing it usually, like, so someone has a business page, it looks great. You have your picture and your PL Realty and all that, and you're posting to your business page, like a photo, whatever, and someone shares it off of there. That's fine if you're on your streamline. It's when you're sponsoring, like you sponsored your post, like you're boosting it into an ad. That ad that's going to appear out to all those consumers, that ad must have those pieces of information out there.
Yeah, so when I have my listing on my business Facebook page, I can go ahead and share that to my personal one. And then I don't have to worry about all this information.
Right. If you're just sharing it from your business page, that is fine. It's when you're actually going to create like those ads that you share to Facebook and then Instagram and all those things.
And then the third question I have, sorry, when you said, mentioned in there, Illinois license broker, should we be putting that in all of our information on the listings?
It's not required.
No,
it's just required on your websites.
just on those.
Just on your website. Currently, that's the law. Yeah, so you're okay there. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So I'm a little bit confused. Right now, if I am a buyer's agent and I wanted to advertise some properties to showing my buyers, these are the potential properties, you can take a look. So when I show these pictures and stuff to my client on any kind of media, whatever tool, I must get permission from the listing agent?
It depends. Are you setting up something through MRED that it's automatically going to them and it's
No.
feeding from them directly?
For example, if it's a foreign language kind of Twitter, but it's totally, there is no way I can link that to MLS. How do I do
So
that?
yeah, if you're putting it out in the public, if you're putting it on, posting it somewhere, you have to have permission. If you're taking it and you're like sending it to them via email privately, something like that, that would be acceptable. Because it's not, it's a closed group, you're kind of just pushing it along. It's when it's public and it's accessible to everyone and they can all see it. Because I understand you're trying to translate it for them, and that makes sense.
Right.
So are you actually taking it and just posting it directly onto their feed, or are you actually taking it and like sending it to them like in an email or a text?
No, I'm taking the picture and the basic information, translating it into a sort of a Facebook thing, but not the Facebook, in Chinese, for example. Chinese have their own version of Facebook.
Sure. Yes, you would need permission. And you listen to it. Correct.
So I need to email them, say, hey, I
Or
want
a text or whatever. Yeah, email, just ask them to just say yes or no.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
usually they
normally
say yes.
Okay.
Normally they do. Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome, always in writing. The other thing too about pictures, I'm sure you guys get a lot of emails from MRED about safe harbor, things like that. Those pictures that are on MRED are actually copyrighted back to the listing brokerage or listing agent. So if you're on the buy side and you sold the property, you have every right to say you sold that property, okay? You don't have to say that you sold it with the buyer, you just say you sold it, because you have a party to the transaction. The photo, however, is a little different. You either you have to get permission from that listing agent to use that photo or take your own. Okay, that's important. Because again, there are some copyright issues. If you're, we're also seeing that you go up to a listing presentation, you get the listing, and the seller says, here's some great photos. I want you to use these photos, right? You should always recommend, always ask them much more questions. Where did they come from? Who took them? Whose are they? All those types of things. Because if they post them onto MRED, we all know, right, if you have an old listing and it didn't work out and it closes or whatever, expires and someone else gets it, you know you're going back and reviewing that listing. You're checking it out and seeing what's going on, right? And you're looking through those photos. And even if you just use 1 out of 25 of somebody else's, they're going to catch it and they're going to tell you to take it down anyways. So you want to protect yourself up front. You don't want to like create bad vibes with another realtor. Just don't use it.
Now you were saying that if I was working with another agent and I found a buyer or her, then just say you sold it, but don't use the pictures. Is that
Correct. Take your own or ask permission to use their
Oh,
photos.
okay, okay.
Yeah, that's important to know. Yeah, the photos seem to be a big hot button right now for people. Yeah. Any other questions? No?